the first climbs I ever got on were like parkour style. It was comp stuff. It wasn't like the crimpy outdoor stuff. And I just like didn't find outdoor climbing as attractive back then. And I think I love how it mixes parkour and comp, and like it's a different kind of problem solving.
Yeah.
Right. I really love the dynamic movement. Almost feels like showy and flashy.
It does.
Putting on like a performance. Yeah. Like I really find that attractive about it.
The Grateful Podcast with Jack Wagoner presents. Subscribe.
Welcome to the Grateful Podcast, where each week we dive into the heart of life, exploring what it takes to build a life of courage, purpose, and gratitude. I'm your host, Jack Wagoner, and I'm a firm believer in the duality between gratitude and relentless action toward your goals. That's the principle upon which this podcast is built, and we dove into that a lot today with Ben Mills. Ben is an aspiring professional climber who's amassed 20,000 followers on Instagram, documenting his journey and sharing tips along the way on how to both become a better climber and a better person. Ben was phenomenal to talk to. We dove into just the addictive nature of rock climbing and how it's pulling so many people in the growing industry. For you non-rock climbers, we also talked about just how hard it is to go after your goals and put yourself out there on the internet for others to see. Ben is an amazing person, and I'm super excited to share this conversation with you. I hope you enjoy. All right, so welcome back, everybody, to the Grateful Podcast. Today's guest is someone who really defines going after your dreams, at least from what I know. We're going to dive into that a little more. His name is Ben Mills. He's a climber who's acquired almost 20,000 followers on Instagram. I'm not sure what it is on other platforms. He has the dream of becoming a professional climber, and he documents his journey on the way there. So welcome to the podcast, Ben Mills.
Thanks so much for having me.
Yeah, dude. So tell me a little bit about yourself. I know I kind of introduced what you do, but talk about it.
So I grew up around Maine. I was born in Colorado, actually, like before I even started climbing. So it's kind of funny that like, yeah, my whole family is like from the Colorado area. I was there till I was 8 years old. Didn't climb, didn't do any like cool sports that you would normally do there, like skiing or snowboarding. And now I'm interested in them.
Yeah.
But yeah, I moved to Maine, like New England area when I was 8, and just grew up doing a lot of sports like football, soccer, baseball, track, cross country. I was like always really skinny, and I loved doing other sports, but I was like really small.
Yeah.
Like throughout my age, I remember like in football, like all the other kids must have been like 5 feet, like going through their growth spurt and puberty. I didn't hit puberty until I was like 16. So I was like, that was like kind of a tough thing to deal with. But yeah, like I found climbing at 18. My friend just invited me one day and was like, "Hey man, do you want to try this out?" And I was a robotics nerd. So I was like, dude, that's weird. Why am I going to like go hop on plastic on a wall? This sounds like really stupid. And I did it once, and then again. And then again, I started going like 5-6 days a week.
Yeah.
And I've been climbing since I was like 18 now. So 5 years.
How it seems to work. I feel like climbing is one of the most addictive things in the world. People just start and then they just get hooked for some reason. It just grabs people's attention.
I agree. I think people really love like the problem solving aspect of it, you know?
Yeah. I think that's true. It's so much more than just your average physical thing. For me, I used to go to the gym all the time for like training for baseball and stuff. I took that super seriously. Yeah. And then I got into climbing and I was like, dude, I'm not just doing the same repetitive motion over and over. It's like, it's invigorating.
Yeah, it really is. And like, it's definitely, I think people love the community that it brings.
Yeah.
Right? Like people just really mess with, it's not like it's individual, but there's still there can be like a team element, especially if you grew up on like a comp team.
You ever do any youth comps?
No, I wish. Since I started when I was 18, actually, that's a lot. I did do a couple of youth comps, but I was never on a team.
Yeah.
I was at WPI, and I remember reaching out to some of the USAC, like, I don't know, board members or employees, and they said I could do collegiate and youth. So I was like, all right, let's do it.
Nice.
So I did like one youth comp, and that was, dude, I placed like 26th or something like that, and I was like pissed. Yeah. Right, because I was like so competitive growing up, and I was like, this is not all right. I just want to get better and better. So I try to do almost every comp that I can now.
That's the best. And what do you like about comp climbing?
I pretty much started on comp boulders. When I went to the first gym, like it was Evo Rock and Fitness in Portland, Maine. Have you been there?
Yeah, I have.
That gym, like they have really cool comp stuff. They had a great setting there, and they had just held a competition called Struggle Bus. So the first climbs I ever got on were like parkour style. It was comp stuff. It wasn't like the crimpy outdoor stuff, and I just like didn't find outdoor climbing as attractive back then. And I think I love how it mixes parkour and comp, and like it's a different kind of problem solving.
Yeah,
Right. I really love the dynamic movement. It almost feels like showy and flashy.
it
Like
does.
you're putting on like a performance.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, like I really find that attractive about it. And especially I feel like with comp climbing, it's more like other sports than outdoor climbing is. Does that make sense? I feel like you have to integrate different, like just a different style of thinking when you approach a comp climb than an outdoor climb.
Okay, yeah, I got you.
You know, like I feel like outdoor climbs, people like from my experience of like outdoor climbing, it's like much more like raw rock climbing. And like, you know, I feel like people can really tap into like it's just I don't know, it's like a different energy. And I find with comp climbing, I have to think more, at least for myself, like about like how I am as a full athlete as opposed to like outdoor climbing. It seems a little more like focused on the sport.
No, I get what you mean. I think that outdoor climbing, it's all mindset.
Yeah.
Well, indoor climbing is mindset too. You have to apply so many things. You have to move. Everything has to like. It's called coordination for a reason. Like you have to coordinate everything into one like cohesive movement. You have to be one cohesive unit. Outdoor climbing, I feel like I can have a really bad go, and I can just try so hard and get to the top of the rock. Where comp style, you can't do that. Like
No.
you trying harder will not always get you where you want to go.
No, sometimes it backfires. Like
Yeah,
hard.
that's something I think like just trying. It's something I've had to deal with in life a lot too, where you realize that trying harder at something doesn't necessarily it's not necessarily going to get you closer to success.
Right.
And it's really backwards sometimes as someone that wants to work so hard. Have you ever felt that?
Yeah, for sure. Where like, you know, it's easy to get inspired by someone like Kobe Bryant, who just, you know, like 4, 5, 6 hour like sessions and like, you know, waking up at 4 a.m. and going to bed at midnight. Like it's easy to get inspired that way. And there's definitely something to be said for like the work ethic, but at a certain point you have to realize like not always like, yeah, working harder, like you said, is not going to get you the results. Sometimes it's working smarter and just a different way. And
Yeah.
like, yeah, I've definitely felt like that, especially with comp stuff.
Yeah.
Like just getting stronger isn't the key all the time.
So what is like, because from my understanding, you made a lot of progress in your rock climbing, and you've really like, and you documented that whole thing. But as you've been progressing, what's been like one of the key things that's helped you just progress as a rock climber?
100% of it is mindset.
Yeah.
100%. And that's something I really have come to terms with lately. Is like, I used to think, you know, there was like a certain element of like, oh, you have to start when you're super young and you have to do this and this. And like, sure, you know, if you start climbing at like 50, comp climbing at like 50 years old, it might be harder for you to go compete against like, you know, a 20-year-old. Like there's some balance there. But specifically with just your own personal growth and training and like, I guess like the success of how good you get, it's 100% mindset. Like if you really don't, if you don't think you can get to a certain point in climbing in this amount of time, like V10 in your first year, you won't.
Yeah.
You won't. But like there's tons of kids that have done that.
I think it's come like the mindset you're talking about from what I've figured out. It's like this just core belief that you're going to make it, like you're going to climb the rock or you're going to do the thing. You have to completely believe in yourself, but it's this weird belief that you can't psych yourself into believing. Like I know I'll try to get on the wall before I'm like, dude, this is the go. This is the go. Everything's saying it's the go besides some inner feeling where I know it's not the go.
Mm-hmm.
But when there's some project I'm about to put down, I just know it before I even touch the wall. And that's the belief that for me has definitely coordinated with success in climbing. But I think one of the things I struggled with is how to get that consistent. I don't know why it happens. Have you ever felt that?
Why? Wait, can you like elaborate on
Like,
that?
I don't know why. I don't know how to control for this belief in myself. It's what like it feels random. The moments where I just know I'm gonna do it, the moments of complete confidence feel like they occur randomly. Like I can't predict when they're gonna happen. And I think my whole goal in climbing and in life in general is I want to figure out how to make that belief something I can get on demand.
It's a thing of like confidence, just like you talked about, right? If you just break down confidence, it's the reputation you have with yourself. It's like, do you do what you say you're going to do or not?
Yeah.
And so I think that like especially something that's important with like I've noticed with like really high level athletes is like always when there's that move on the wall that like really makes you uncomfortable. There's like some kind of jump and you're like, damn, I might like snap my ankle and just break it right now. Or like, you just don't think you can hold a certain crimp and like you're just gonna try regardless of how you feel. Like just doing that. And especially doing it by yourself. Or if there's no one around you, like that's where like I think the full like real confidence comes from. It's like what you do, not when others are around you, but when you're by yourself. Bringing that to competitions or just moments where you really want to like lock in,
Yeah.
like you were just talking about. I think that confidence comes from just doing it by yourself and just like failing over and over and over again. And when you go to a comp, you can remember back to the practices that you had where you were able to lock in, we were able to just, be like, okay, I failed on this move again and again and again. But like you get to the comp and you're like, okay, wait, I failed on this exact style of move 100 times. And then I got it on 101.
Yeah.
It's like, okay, it's going to go eventually. I just have to like keep working it right now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like you think that inner confidence, it just comes from like almost a map of, you have evidence that you can do what that you can do what you think you're going to do, or like you have evidence in the past where you've done what you said you're going to do, so you know that right now you can apply that same concept.
Yeah, that's exactly it.
Dude, I like that.
Like hard, right?
Yeah,
because it's not just some say this affirmation in the mirror. It's not kind of
doesn't work like
right?
that.
It's like you just have to put in the work.
Yeah,
it's that simple.
So shifting to like your like social media side of it, like does that same principle apply where you feel like you just, like you said to me before we did this, that you've done so many different things until you kind of found what you're doing now? And like, does that same principle of just falling flat on your face like 100 times but succeeding on the 101st, do you apply that to like your social media and business side of things as well?
Yeah, 100%. I started posting on TikTok I think the beginning of 2022.
Yeah.
Or maybe end of 2021. I was really inspired by this guy. Alex Sedlak?
No, I don't.
So he was big on TikTok. So
Okay.
he's like 2 million followers or something. And he posts a lot about like self-improvement and mindset, some dating stuff. And I was like, oh, I want to make videos like that. I really resonate with that. I've been on, I don't know, it wasn't called self-improvement back then, but like going to the gym, talking about mindset and doing this and that since I was like 15, 16 years old. And I was like, oh, I have experience with that. I could definitely like help some guys with, their thinking, dealing with anxiety. So I started posting videos. And I think in like 6-7 months, I had like 25,000 on TikTok. It was cool. And like a couple of videos do well. So I was excited. But I don't know, something about, then I got to like coaching and I was like, man, I hate this. And I just didn't really mess with that style and that niche anymore. So I dropped it, tried posting different style of video, tried posting dating videos. Like, oh, I don't want to teach guys just how to have sex. Like, that's so lame.
Not your thing.
No, that just wasn't my thing. So I was like, all right, I'm not doing that. And I was doing like fitness videos at the beginning of this year. Actually, beginning of this year for like 5 months, I was only climbing a couple times a month.
Really?
I wasn't even climbing like at all.
You're hitting the gym?
Yeah, I was like pretty hard into the gym. I packed on like 10 pounds of muscle and I was like super stoked about that. I just always felt like a calling again to climbing. I was like, I really want to climb. I really want to climb. But like my lifestyle switched so much because I dropped out of like grad school. And so then I was like, okay, I'll try climbing again. And I just fell in love with it. It's like I fell in love with the sport again.
Yeah.
And then I was like, okay, now I had all this time of making videos in different niches and learning content creation. Then I brought like a new perspective to making content for climbing.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh, I can make something like I can make something like no one makes in this space right now.
That's sick.
I just like thought like I could make different videos than what was already on Instagram and TikTok with climbing. So I just started posting that and they started to do well.
I like your experience from everything that you like did in the past led you to like being able to do what you do now. Like your failures, and I don't want to say failures, but like
attempts.
Yeah, that's better. Like they gave you the skills to be able to succeed like now, or like you can apply that knowledge that you learned to climbing.
Yeah,
which is
100%.
that's so cool.
It is cool, right? Because like it's easy to say something we did in the past was like a failure when really like it's just your attempt,
Right.
and like you take the thing you learn from it and then just bring it to something else.
Yeah.
It's cool.
That is so cool. I think I've been like, so like I'm a senior in high school, and I'm
Mhm.
like really like kind of anxious about the future, what the
Yeah.
future holds. And so I put a lot of eggs in the basket of like, I really wanted to go to Stanford. That was my
Yeah.
goal since I was like in 8th grade. And on Friday I got rejected.
Damn.
And so it's like, I was like, shit, what the hell? But like what you just said reminds me that like everything, when you look back in the past, everything connects like so linearly.
It does.
Like you see the pattern, you see that caused this and this. But looking forward, it's just so hard because you can't make those connections. You don't know what comes next, but
Mhm.
you just got to trust that it works, I
Yeah.
guess.
It's hard in the moment, right?
It's so hard, dude.
Yeah, dude, I get that. Yeah, something's gonna work out for you, bro. Really,
Yeah.
something will. It's just gonna come. You'll be like, "What the hell is this?"
Yeah. It just happens. You
Yeah.
gotta like almost not submit to life, but in a way, kind of.
I get what you mean. Yeah, just have faith. you
Yeah.
know?
So what are your like? Do you have like goals for the? What are your big goals for the future?
Thought a little bit about this, especially in the past few weeks, given
Mhm.
that like 2025 is coming up.
Yeah.
I really want to keep building the climbing page, keep
Yeah.
building the community, and just like start to figure out like, I want to turn this into a living. So I asked myself like, okay, what do people need help with? Like, what can I help the climbing community with? I don't want to just be. I could do coaching. I don't
Yeah.
want to just be like a regular coach, really. I don't want to come out and drop a course all that much. Like it could become some course guru. So I'm just kind of thinking deeply like what product, what service can I bring to people for climbing that would help them and also make me fulfilled in the sense of like, oh, I'm giving these people something. Because something
Yeah.
that really fulfills me is inspiring people. That's
Yeah.
why I make the videos in the first place. Which is like, yeah, that's why I love it. And it's just not bringing in money right now. So I have to find some way to like at least fulfill my basic needs of living and do that. So that's the big thing right now for me. Like figuring out how to do this for a living.
Yeah.
In terms of climbing, make finals and compete at the North American Cup Series events.
That's sweet.
Yeah.
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 Finals at a dark horse.
That would be crazy.
That would be so
That would
cool.
be crazy. It would be really cool.
That
man.
would be like, I feel like that's the dream of everyone around here.
Yeah,
like,
dude.
that'd be so sick.
Dude, Dark Horse has gotten so stacked.
It's insane.
Like even when I first started 5 years ago, which wasn't that long, it was not this stacked.
Yeah.
And like now it's not uncommon for, big guys and like top performers like, Ross Fulgerson or like Chloe Koskow to pull up.
Yeah.
It's not uncommon.
It's insane. Last year in the finals, didn't Jesse Cooper come?
Yeah.
And he didn't even win.
No, it was crazy.
Which
It shows
like
how
at the
competitive it is.
like one of the two Olympians didn't even win a dark horse.
Yeah, dude, it's insane.
Yeah.
Now we got Ben Kim just coming in like destroying everyone.
He's an animal, dude.
Dude.
Yeah.
I think he's 17, right?
Yeah. I've
Insane.
competed against him my entire life. So
Really?
yeah. I actually stopped competitions this year because I just feel like the competition aspect of climbing ruins what I love it for.
Yeah, I hear that.
If that makes sense.
Mhm.
But yeah, it was insane coming against like
Yeah.
him and Patrick Daly
Yeah.
and Eli. You guys are crazy.
You were a youth kid?
Yeah.
How long did you compete for? When did you start?
Started when I was 14 or 15, 14, I think.
Yeah.
And I remember my first competition, I placed like 22nd.
Yeah.
And it was just like, oh my God. I mean, here I was still one of the stronger kids. Like I would burn off like older dudes on their projects and feel so good about myself.
Yeah. Go campus their project.
Yeah, exactly. And then I started competing. I'm like, God damn, like I'm so weak compared to these kids. Like it's amazing to see how strong people are out there.
Yeah, it's crazy like how high the level really gets, how high the bar gets. And like especially if you look at like competitions from like 30 years ago.
Yeah.
It's not even close. Like it's insane.
I feel that with
It's just very different.
right.
Too.
I feel that with like everything. Like so baseball was my huge thing for so long. And now I've kind of fallen out of love with it. I just put so much pressure on myself for so long that I burnt out a little bit. But I tell people like, yeah, yo, I would have gone pro back in 1920. Like, and it's probably true. Like the amount that like as society develops, like sports develop too is so insane.
Yeah, especially like, I mean, yeah, it's easy for us to look at that with climbing, but yeah, it's a good point. Like everything's just at a much higher level. Like I think we just have better tools, like I don't know, analyze stuff or whatever.
And like gained experience. I think like experience accumulates like that.
I've never thought about that. Yeah, that's a cool perspective.
That just came to me like right now.
Yeah, like, but like, no, you're so right. Like experience just like passing on, because like, you know, everyone just learns more and more about the sport, and that just gets passed on.
Right.
Oh, that's cool.
So like a while ago, they were kind of starting from scratch, and then like they have bases to build upon, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
Coaching gets better.
That's really cool.
Yeah,
that's cool.
But back to like when you're talking about like your goals and stuff, I think that like making finals in like North American Cup or whatever, like that's so cool.
That would be next level.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Do you have like a timeline of when you want that stuff to happen?
I've never done a North American Cup series,
Okay.
so to be honest, I don't really know what to expect.
Yeah.
Metro Rock around here, the training in New England is getting really, really good. Like, like I mean, Salt Lake has, you know, the U.S. Training Center and like just insane, you know, climbers out there, and the number of gyms that are open 24 hours a day. But like Metro Rock ever here, I know has their own kind of TC now. Like, I think it's called like the Metro Stable.
Yeah.
Ever been there?
I haven't, dude. I've seen videos. It looks sick.
It's really cool. And it's set by a lot of guys who have experience with the North American Cup Series. So they're setting some like very contemporary, dynamic competition stuff that isn't.
Yeah.
I was talking to actually a friend about this. I have a friend, he kind of coaches me too, Ethan. He and I talked about like there's different kinds of comp style across gyms. Like I feel like there's traditional like commercial comp stuff where it's like here's like a climb, but there's a dyno in it, so it's comp style.
Yeah.
But then there's like comp style you'll see at USAC, maybe the youth comps. And those are pretty like dynamic. You might have a lachey into a paddle.
Yeah.
And then there gets into like these weird contemporary shit. Like, oh, can I swear on that?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Like weird contemporary shit. Of like you're in a very uncomfortable position on some slab, and you have to do a rose into a paddle.
Yeah.
Just weird stuff that like I feel like the North American Cup, and especially like if you watch IFSC, like the World Cups are really getting into. It's just super uncomfortable, weird, dynamic stuff that you have to like. You almost don't train them before, but you have to train your ability to prepare for anything.
If you're enjoying this episode of the Grateful Podcast, I would very much appreciate it if you could either share this podcast episode with friends and family, or kindly leave a review down below on whatever podcast platform you're listening on. It would help me be able to make this podcast better for you and better for all my other listeners. Thank you. Enjoy the show. I really like the word uncomfortable for it, because I feel like when I was in France and I climbed, that's how I described the climbing style. And it felt so weird. Like, I've done comp stuff back home. Why can I not do this? Or why? Because everything hard is just so uncomfortable and weird. Like, okay, you push yourself up in a press, but in a position that your hips have never been in before, to like get your foot up in a weird different ways, and like variety in the ways that people are moving. But I think that's also so cool. Like people are discovering new ways to move with it.
Yeah, now we have no text holds. And you gotta like, you know, step on dual text all the time. Like that's the new thing.
Yeah.
Like trust it. Dude, yeah. Oh, I'm jealous. I bet the climbs are really, really cool.
It's sick. Yeah. The one gym that I ended up making like kind of my home gym there, it opened right when I got there. So that was sick. Wow. And as it became huge. So one of the main guys that climbed there was the French national champion. His name's Guido Martini.
Yeah.
He's my age. So we climbed together. And like one time they reset an entire section for the French national team to come in and climb on. And so like all this comp style stuff. And it just really, again, like we were talking about when I first started comp climbing too, it just opened my eyes to how good people actually are.
Yeah.
Because you see stuff in the World Cup sometimes and you're like, all right, I'm like, yo, I can do that. Like, what, what is that?
That is falling on a V2 over here.
Like, what the heck? And then you see something that looks like a V2 that these national like competitors are climbing on, and you're like, oh, I can't establish. Like, what is up? It was really cool.
That is so cool, dude. I want to get over to like Europe and get on some of the stuff. I feel like the setting there is again like very different. I've climbed in London.
Yeah.
And Amsterdam. Amsterdam was really cool. Definitely, again, I could see the difference, and like even the comp style was different. Like as you kind of explained with like the uncomfortable thing, it really is like, you know, like a dyno here in America on a basic commercial gym, if you go to like CRG, it's just like, okay, nice jug, big feet, jump really hard.
Yeah.
But then you go to like France, or now you can go to like the TCM Metro Rock Everett. Now you're in like an uncomfortable position with like you're on a dual text feet and you have to jump really hard out of the position.
Yeah.
Like now it's a whole different game of like, I feel like the importance of understanding flow and dynamic movement is like now more important than ever for comp climbing.
100%. Being strong just does not get you as far.
It doesn't.
I mean, when I climbed with Keto, I like love to tell the story. Like we were climbing on the kilter board together, and he was not climbing that much harder than me. It was insane. And then I watch him get over on the comp style stuff, and he like flashes the hardest bowler in the gym. I'm like, dude, what? But that's what you like. You don't necessarily need to be able to like do a one arm pull up or that stuff.
Hang on 20 mil.
Yeah, exactly.
Is good to hear too, because I genuinely think might have like the weakest fingers of any like V10 climber.
Yeah,
I swear. Like I did one of the lattice training tests, and you know, my pull, my climbing, everything was around like V10, V11, and then my fingers were V4.
You serious?
I'm being 100% serious. I can, maybe if I'm fully rested, I can hang on 20 mil with both hands, but I can't do it like at the end of the session. And my fingers are just, which is like, from a certain perspective, you can think like, okay, cool, I got to this level with like weak fingers.
Right.
But I definitely have something to work on.
Yeah.
For sure. But yeah, I think that just brings to your point, like the movement is above all else.
Yeah.
Like over strength. For sure.
Which is cool. Like as I've unlocked movement, I've just seen myself skyrocket because I've been able to, I'm the opposite of you, where like my fingers are too strong for me. It's like you know the Beastmaker like side edge? It's like 10, 12 mil.
12, yeah.
I can hang on that one arm.
That's crazy.
And it's like I don't, but then I've never climbed V10. And it's like I think as I've just been discovering movement and stuff so much. I feel so much flowier after taking a long time off of. Like I was just really busy, and so I got weaker, and then my movements had to take over a lot. And I've been climbing like V9 pretty easily recently.
Nice.
So
I guess that played to your benefit then.
Yeah,
cool.
It's really interesting how that works.
Wow.
If you're too strong, it becomes almost like a handicap.
Yeah,
because you end up trying to overcompensate with your strength and you lose your technique.
Right. Yeah, I definitely did that a little bit when I came back to climbing a few months ago.
Yeah,
maybe like 4 or 5 months ago now. I did all that weight training and gym training. Now I had more muscle.
Yeah,
I weighed more, so my fingers were weaker.
Yeah,
and like I definitely was just like almost campusing everything.
So fun.
Yeah.
All right, so to pivot back to like your business side of things, when you talk about like wanting to make a service that allows you to like do this for a full-time job.
Yeah.
I think so many people out there are in like that same boat. I know that me personally, I'm trying to figure out a way to monetize this because I like when you have an audience, like you have an audience, you have, how many followers do you have on like other social medias?
TikTok for the climbing, only like 2,500. YouTube, we're like 2.8 thousand.
Like,
so Instagram's definitely a carrier, but
right. But still, like you get hundreds of thousands of views sometimes. Like if you had a service, I bet you could convert at least like 1% of those people.
Probably, yeah.
And so I've thought about like the same thing for me. I'm not getting very many like impressions right now, but I'm kind of just starting to really put my eggs in this basket.
Yeah.
But when I went on like YouTube automation, I got hundreds of thousands of views, and I never created the service. So that like when I lost the views, I lost my revenue.
Yeah.
So I think that one of the hardest things is figuring out how to actually like sell yourself in a way where you provide value and you can turn that audience into revenue.
I'm still definitely kind of learning this, but I've been doing so much more research, and I'm in like a few communities to like learn more about the business side of content creation. And I think we're definitely shifting towards like, courses and just really basic like info products are popular like 5, maybe even like 10 years ago. But now we're definitely shifting towards like people want like just a closer connection. Like one-on-one coaching works very well right now because it's person to person.
Yeah.
Like you're getting direct advice from the person you want advice from. You want to be like this person, so they're able to coach you. Everything is sales.
Yeah.
Right. Like when you like go try to convince your mom that you need this like chocolate bar or like I don't know this Minecraft kit in the server. You're like, Mom, I need this for like this reason, and like you find a way to like convince your mom. You're convince your mom with like technically like sales skills, right? Like that's kind of what it is. So I guess it's like figuring out like if you really break down like sales in like a non-scammy way, it's just like connecting with another person and like sharing like who needs what and like exchanging needs.
Yeah.
Right. And so I guess I've started to have this perspective of like when I'm selling something, I got to get over the fear of like becoming like a course guru. If I want to come up with a course, I'm going to come up with something that like genuinely helps people, that like solves their problems, their needs, their wants, their desires. Like if they want to do paddles on a V8 at their gym, I can definitely help with that. That's something if they want to learn from me, that fulfills their need like perfectly. It's not a scam, right?
Right.
Like, that's exactly what they're looking for.
Exactly.
So for some guy to comment like, oh, scammer, like course guru, like asshole, like that person probably like isn't the kind of person I want to sell to anyways.
Exactly. When you get hate from someone like that, I feel like you got to question, do I even want them to like appreciate, do I even want them to like what I'm doing? Like,
yeah. Like it's probably, there's sometimes I get these comments from people who are like, I'll make a video on like just trying to like share my own experience. It's not even really like an advice video. It's like, here's my story. Like majority of my content, that's what it is. Like I try to not come too much from the approach of like on a pedestal of like, hey, this is how you get to V10. Like this is the only way. Because there's not one way. I don't want to be that kind of content creator. I want to be someone just sharing my story. And if it helps someone, that's cool.
Yeah.
But I get comments every now and then. They're like, bro, you barely climb like V7. Like, what are you talking about? You're trash. And I'm like, okay, all right, bro. I click on their profile. They're like 100 followers. I'm like,
yeah. It's so hard. Like, because when you put yourself out there, that is bound to happen. It's inevitable that you get haters like that, but it still sucks so bad.
It does. And like, no matter how many positive comments or DMs you get, those ones still fucking hurt.
So when I first created my podcast, it was like a year ago, and I like people would kind of make fun of me for it, and I don't know if it's make fun of, but in some way, you know what I mean,
like tease you about
it. You get teased a little bit.
It's less common when some people like see and they think like, oh, you have a lot of followers, like, cooler, but I don't know. It's just I don't think that ever really goes away.
Yeah,
not really, because that's just like another mindset thing.
Right. But then you're not doing it for them.
Yeah,
you're doing it for you.
Yeah.
So it's hard to get that out of your head. But I feel like it all comes back to like reminding yourself that like you're doing what you want to be doing.
Yeah. It's hard sometimes in those moments to not tap into like the ego thing,
right?
And just like I don't know, start shitting on them. Or you think to yourself, you're like, once someone $20K a month, they're gonna say something different.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, but it really is just for your own fulfillment and like reminding yourself in those moments is hard sometimes.
Yeah, sure. But once you have a good why, it all I feel like it falls into place. Then
I still think you have to like remind yourself of your why all the time. I got to do that. Like I've been much better about like doing like visualization every morning, like about my goals and like really intensely like even like the feeling of like getting this climb, like making finals, almost like law of attraction stuff, right? So like I've been really, really heavy into that the past few weeks, and like that's helping a lot with like not only the motivation, but like staying more disciplined for sure.
Talk more about that, because I've been curious. Like, I've meditated for a few years now, but I've never quite dove into like visualization and that type of stuff. So like, talk to me kind of about your practice and what you do.
I've been reading this book called The Secret. I don't know the artist or the author, but
Okay.
I know like Conor McGregor's talked about this law of attraction, which is essentially like you you attract kind of like what you are. Not only like if you think about, oh, I'm gonna like work really hard on this climb, you'll work really hard on this climb. But if you visualize yourself, when you read beta, you visualize yourself like doing the climb, doing each move, topping it. If you like deeply associate not only the visualization, but the feeling with it, that's really important. Like the feeling. I can't describe you all the science behind it, but like you're like just much more likely to do it. And it's not like some woo-woo spiritual thing, but it's also like just basic science in the sense of like everyone's heard you are the sum of the 6 people you spend the most time with.
Yeah.
Because, you hear certain thoughts, your thoughts turn into beliefs, your beliefs turn into habits, your habits turn into who you are. You're the sum of your habits. So if that's the case, then why would you not surround yourself with as much of the success that you want and like all your desires as much as you can? Like having the posters of the car that you want, maybe the people you want to surround yourself with. I have a picture of like me, of like a person like getting like topping a boulder at finals, because that's what I want. So like I see that every day when I wake up now, and I'm like, okay, time to get to work. And so like reminding yourself of that and like having that consume a majority of your thoughts, I think is really, really important. And I'm definitely seeing the benefit of that.
That's really cool. I think that whole thing of like, why not? I hadn't really thought about that. Like, why not surround yourself with like all the positivity you can?
Yeah.
I think I truly do believe in like energy and stuff like that. Where
Me too.
like, if I'm surrounding myself with positive people, or like if I'm like reading positive things or whatever, consuming like positive things, that I will absorb that almost.
Mm-hmm.
But like thoughts are the same way.
The thing I'm still learning for sure is associating the feeling with it.
Yeah,
I don't
that was
know.
interesting.
I don't know the science of it, but I just remember reading something about the feeling really like, I don't know, just like attracting more energy in some kind of way. I can't put it into like words very well, but yeah, I know that like the feeling is really important to have with it. And so sometimes like I'll be in the morning, you're like, okay, I gotta visualize, and you like sit down and maybe just think about like what things you want, but the feeling's not always there. Like the psyche isn't always there.
Yeah.
So like that's a whole other skill too. And I think I just like posted about this, tapping into your psyche, tapping into, why you're doing what you're doing. You like still understanding it, and also just like the motivation. Like, I mean, motivation gets a lot of shit, but like it's pretty
real.
damn helpful. Like,
right? It's pretty real.
You can be disciplined, but like being motivated too is pretty nice. Like to have it like complement your discipline.
Yeah. Like you can be disciplined and put out like, I like those like have you seen the graphics on like Instagram where it's like motivation whoop, and discipline constant? But yeah, if you're disciplined and motivated, it's like
that's
you
better.
know what I mean? That's better. Like yeah, like that. That feeling though, like the feeling when you're visualizing, that's hard. I feel like I'm in my head a lot, and I am constantly thinking about my goals, but to feel how it feels to have been like, to have those goals, that's a lot.
Yeah, it's hard. I definitely think, it's definitely not some woo shit though. Like, there's definitely something to be said for it.
Yeah. Do you like consume a lot of like content, or I don't know, because we talk about like the thoughts part of it, but I like to like read or listen to podcasts of other like people and kind of get ideas from there. Where do you get your ideas?
I listen to a lot of do you know Hamza?
Yeah,
I listen to a lot of Hamza. He's got this like YouTube channel now of like him doing like kickboxing in Bali.
Okay.
And it's like very raw content. I try not to consume any content that's like too filled with dopamine, like flashy lights and shit trying to keep your attention. I don't know. I also just kind of get like turned off by it. Like it's just too much sometimes.
Yeah.
So I like to enjoy watching other climbers. Like I really enjoyed Ross Fulkerson's YouTube channel for a
Dude,
while.
it was so good.
Really good content. I haven't seen him post in a while.
He hasn't. I really liked it.
He's got to drop another video.
Yeah, come on. I
Right.
DM'd him one time. I was like, dude, we need more.
We need more content.
Yeah.
Yeah, dude. So like I really enjoy watching a lot more of the raw content of like behind the scenes footage, and
Yeah.
that's similar to what I'm posting too. So it helps me get ideas.
Yeah.
Like, oh, I can include this in my own videos. But yeah, I try not to consume like very much short form.
Yeah.
If any, it's like almost looking for like motivation or like inspiration to post.
Yeah.
But I have to be careful with that because it's easy to get distracted and half an hour and a half
Right.
gone by and you're
Yeah.
like, I'm not inspired.
I struggle with that too.
And I just waste all the time. Yeah.
Because then you have to be intentional with it. Because
Yeah.
if you try to be intentional and then you just end up doom scrolling, it's like you didn't get any value from it. You ended up forgetting everything, and I don't know.
Yeah. Now you feel like depleted.
Right.
And now you have to do the work that you said you were going to do. And you're like,
Again, and you're done with it.
yeah.
It's hard. Like these addiction machines that are just.
Yeah. Yeah.
I feel like I'm a pretty disciplined person, and I can do a lot if I like put my mind to it. But I don't think anyone can win the battle against like billions of dollars of research into your mind and like how to keep your attention.
No, they've literally spent all that money and all that time and energy into like hijacking your brain so that you get distracted easier. And,
Exactly.
you know, like make you feel like you don't need to do as much work as you need to do and all this shit.
It's crazy.
Yeah. Yeah. I try to get like my overall screen time below like 30 minutes a day.
That's
Yeah.
really
But,
really
like,
good.
It's hard sometimes.
Impressive.
Thanks.
Have you heard of the app Opal?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. I just didn't want to like, you have to pay for it, right?
There's a free version I use.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Yeah.
Maybe I was coping. I was like, oh, I'm not going to go. Well, I have to pay for it. Like,
Yeah.
I'm going to be disciplined enough.
I talked to the CEO one time.
Really?
He's a cool. Yeah, he's cool. His wife is from New Hampshire. He's from Paris, and so like
Oh,
he
man.
invited me to meet with him in Paris, and then I didn't end up meeting with
Oh,
him.
damn. That'd be
But-
cool, though.
Yeah, it would have been. I climbed in Font though, so that was.
Oh, I can't complain about
it's
that.
okay.
That's sick.
Yeah,
That's dope.
but yeah, it's a cool company. I
How'd
like.
you get in contact with him?
I emailed him.
That's, dude.
Yeah.
Most guys won't even shoot the shot, though.
Right. Yeah.
That's good for you on that.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's sick.
I could just try to email people. I think that one of my biggest skills is just like making relationships with people,
Mhm.
and I know that that'll get me far. So every so often, I just try to shoot my shot with it.
That's cool. That's a skill you can monetize as well.
Yeah.
That's like
I
people,
mean-
people need help with that, especially nowadays, COVID and everything.
Yeah.
You know Arlen Moore?
No.
He's a guy who's monetized that exact skill.
Okay.
Of being able to like connect people and just teach people how to make connections and social skills and all that.
I'll have to check that out after this.
You should.
And I kind of did the same thing with you. I just kind of DM'd you. I didn't know if you'd reply to me, and then
Yeah.
this worked out.
Yeah, I'm psyched we got to do this.
Yeah, me too. So before we go, I just want you to tell everybody like where they can find you and
Yeah.
update them if you got anything coming or want to let the audience know about anything.
No, I'm just keeping up with the daily series of. I don't post every day, but like I train every day to
Yeah.
make finals at a climbing competition.
You hit 100. You hit day 100.
Yeah,
right?
we're on day
yeah,
100 now.
congrats, dude.
Thanks, bro.
Yeah.
Thanks. So yeah, we're keeping that up. I'm not gonna stop posting that until finals. But
Yeah.
it might be gone. It might not be gone. Yeah, you can find me at Ben Mills Climbs on Instagram and TikTok and YouTube. And I'm also going to start posting more of like long form unedited raw content on YouTube.
I like that.
So I'm excited about that.
Yeah.
I feel like YouTube's, I don't know, like you have Instagram, TikTok, and short form stuff, but YouTube's always been like king in my head.
Right? I
Yeah.
think that's every creator.
Yeah.
That's what I feel as well. They also treat their creators the
They do.
best.
They do.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. I feel like that's definitely where you can develop the best relationship with like your following.
Uh-huh. I think the raw unedited stuff is sweet too because
Yeah.
I want to watch people rock climb.
Yeah.
All climbers want to watch people rock climb, dude.
What do you consume?
I do a lot of like, do you know Chris Williamson?
Yes.
Yeah.
I love Chris Williams.
Yeah, I like his stuff. I like you know Simon Sinek.
Yes.
Yeah,
Yeah.
love him.
Great guy.
Alex Ramosi.
Yeah.
Like the business, but also like mindset stuff. Jay Shetty for a while.
Yeah. Yeah.
And then I mean climbing wise, I've stopped consuming as much climbing content. Mellow still though. Yeah.
You like Magnus?
Not as much anymore.
Really?
I used to love him, dude, when I was
Yeah.
when I was younger.
Yeah.
But I don't know. I felt like it got a little cheesy at the
Yeah.
like some of his video. They're really like from a creator standpoint.
They're incredibly,
yeah.
incredibly high quality.
Right.
Like, really, like,
But I don't know. They're not what I'm into watching. I
yeah,
guess.
it's just not like what you're looking for.
Yeah.
Yeah. I definitely, I don't know. I started watching him when I first started climbing.
Yeah.
He only had like, I think he was just shy of like 100,000 subscribers.
Really.
When I got into it, so I was like super inspired by watching him because all the videos were climbing related.
Yeah.
And then he started like exploring his stuff, and I can see like he's definitely shifted more towards like the very trendy topics of
Yeah.
like doing this kind of challenge and this like challenge. But yeah, I really missed the OG like
Me too. They were
climbing videos.
fun.
Those were awesome.
I remember he went to like a gym in Japan, and
Yes,
that was sick.
that was a great video.
I think that, I mean, his growth reflects the growth of the climbing community a lot, and
Oh yeah,
I mean,
Yeah.
like you're setting yourself up well because the climbing is just blowing up.
Yeah.
It's a
Yeah,
sport
you're
that
right.
like people, like we talked about at the very beginning, it's addicting, and people are starting it more. Gyms are becoming more popular, blowing up. It's really cool to see.
Yeah, man. I'm glad we could do this.
Yeah, me too. Thank you, dude.
Of course, I appreciate it.
Thanks for coming
Appreciate
on.
you having me on.
Yeah.
Thanks, man.
Thank you for listening to the Grateful Podcast. If you enjoyed this episode, it would mean the world to me if you could either share this episode with friends and family who you think would enjoy it, or leave a review down below on what I can do to make this better for you and for other listeners. All that would just help me be able to spread my message of gratitude and living a purposeful life. I hope you have a great day.